One very good bit of news is that all of this can be done, in theory, in just one legislative session. In just 12 months, with 30 legal acts by a new government. And I have brought along, by sheer chance at a very reasonable price, a plan showing how it can be done. And this explains how you could break the state monopoly in education and have lots of local referendums and have elected sheriffs running the police and all the rest of it. But in a way, the specific policies here matter less than the idea that infuses them, the philosophy that is immanent in it, namely the belief that decisions should be taken as closely as possible to the people they affect. You cannot argue that decisions should be taken more proximately to the people and at the same time argue that they should be made in Brussels. You can't decentralize power in the United Kingdom and centralize it in the European Union. You can't be against the Quango state here and at the same time subject our country to the biggest Quango of the lot, namely the unelected European Commission. I've been an MEP for some of these past 10 years. Right? I've seen it throughout those 10 years as my job to stop this hemorrhage of power from our elected Westminster parliamentarians to the unelected Brussels functionaries. I still see that as my job. But I've come to realize how much deeper the problem goes than just Brussels. In this country, we invented the idea of parliamentary democracy, and we exported it. It was our greatest export, our chief contribution to the happiness of mankind. Our fathers took that seed and they planted it on every continent, and elsewhere it's found fertile soil and flourished, but here the ancestral tree is withering. The mother of parliaments has ceased to be a functioning representative democracy. The British state is now run by and for its employees. And that is what the next government will have to change with your support. I'm going to leave you with a little story. God is looking down on the world, and he's very loath at human sinfulness. He decides he's going to send a flood, but save one good man. He sends the angel Gabriel down to Noah, and the angel says, Noah, God commands that you build an ark, that you hew it of cedar wood and of gopher wood. Noah says, well, I'd like to do that, but couldn't possibly use those materials. It would contravene the EU's sustainable habitats. We need an alternative. Gabriel ploughs ahead, unperturbed. He says it should be 31 cubits by 17 by 11. Noah says, have you not heard of the EU's metrication directive? There's absolutely no way I can build an ark in cubits. Gabriel says, and when you've done that, you need 2 of every animal, male and female, each according to its kind. And Noah said, well, but what about the EU's Transport of Live Animals directive? Gabriel, somewhat puzzled, goes back to his creator and says, Lord, what is this EU whereof thy children speak? And God says, verily, the EU is the cause wherefore I am sending the flood.
Good evening all. There may not have been as many viewers tonight as Dan's had with his recent YouTube video, but I'm sure you all enjoyed it just as much as the 3 million hours, however many. I think there are very few speakers in politics, whether inside the party or outside the party, who are quite as lucid, erudite or sound as Dan Hannan. I think it's a great function to be hosting with the Freedom Association and Conservative Future. So I really do think the future of this country is basically revolved and entirely set upon the freedoms that we need and the freedoms we don't have at the moment. Really, I'd just like to thank you all for attending, and I'd like to thank Dan for speaking.